Whoa, we're on again because for some reason Discord was fucking up and we weren't able to say shit. It's like proper intro this time.
Okay, so welcome to the Galaxy Brain Podcast, episode 5, and today we have a guest with us. Introduce yourself or die trying.
My name is Sans JJSlider guy Undertale. Hello.
The real fucking JJSlider stand up.
Yeah, I don't know.
We actually talked about him last time because last time we were talking about Shadow the Hedgehog a bit because there is a tool-assisted speedrun to 100% the game. But keep in mind, that's a robot who did it, and this guy over here actually did it legitimately, all on his own.
Yeah,
I did. It was 240 hours plus, I think. It's crazy. I think the world record with like a human is 181 hours, and they use this glitch with chaos control where you can like skip the entire level. It's very technical. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I think so few people have even done it that it is a legitimate achievement to even do it at all. So I thought that was really interesting last podcast.
Yeah. You're probably going to hate the game by the end of it if you don't already hate it, because I know a lot of people hate it. I don't blame them.
And Black Shadow is now like your favorite character.
Yeah, Black Doom is like, he's the GOAT. He's the MLG god guy. Got the eye.
MLG in this year, are you fucking kidding?
I don't know, I'm just saying random shit because I have no... Hey.
I mean, like, in Minecraft, they still say LG because, like, that's now just the normal term, using the water bucket just before you're going to hit the ground.
Oh yeah,
Optimal movement.
MLG water bucket. It's kind of a cool technique, actually. Kind of like it. This is like it looks cool, you know. I'm not sure how easy it is to pull off, though. Like, do people just hold right click or something?
I think it's a matter of timing because you have to do it right before you hit the ground, and then that way you can move the fastest without being interrupted by water.
Oh. Okay.
The funny thing is, I think the only experience I have with Minecraft is like going into creative mode, building a stairway to heaven, and then just falling off. No creativity.
Oh. Well, I mean, a staircase is one way to die, but another, like in survival, I think it's like, I don't know, I think survival is kind of easy, but then if you like have hardcore mode, you actually start caring about dying. I tried like doing several playthroughs on hardcore. I'm not like the strongest gamer in town, so like
I think playing normally can just be sort of like hardcore in a way because once I die and then my loot already becomes like way too hard to obtain again before it despawns, it's like it's not even worth it anymore. So it's like basically a hardcore mode because I just give up and make a new world.
Yeah, damn it, that's why you like have like 20 stacks of iron blocks and 1 stack of diamond blocks that you keep in your chest. Yeah. Yeah, I do that. Except for I never got a stack of diamond blocks, so I can't really say. Usually to me it boils down to like not exactly being prepared for everything, but more like storing the valuable shit in chests, so like I don't lose it when I go to mine or something. Cause like I don't know, I don't need to bring diamonds with me when I fight some creepers or something, and they could very easily blow you up. It's like, you know.
Recently I've been checking out a lot of comics, I guess, and most recently I started reading The Boys, the original comic.
Oh yes,
please.
First time I wanted to ask you just to say that one scene, but we'll get to that in a moment.
Well, we will get to that for sure. But I remember hating the first issue and then just giving up on it. But I came back and maybe I'll do a video on it because it's an interesting series. I don't know if I'll ever consider it good, but it's interesting. But there's other series out there that looks like they'd be what I want from the boys, like Class War, where the two S's are spelt with a $sign. That looks like something I'd like. And then there's another one I forgot. It's a super obscure indie that has a similar premise. Okay, so Tech Knight is this Iron Man guy. He has a problem where he compulsively just fucks everything in sight. He has to hide the problem though, but eventually it comes out in the news. And once it does, it ruins his entire career. So he basically falls and has this delusion where he actually saves the world because it's a huge meteor shower and he has to save the world because there's a tiny 1-inch slit in this giant meteor the size of Texas, and there's a tiny slit. He says he can fuck it, so that's what he does. He goes up into space and then fucks the meteor, and it gets destroyed as the entire world cheers. That's like his last dream before he just dies.
Yeah, it was like completely wild when he was explaining it, but then he actually shown the pages and it's even better. It kind of actually made me think that the boys may be a bit better than I heard about it. But then there's the other issues that like we talked about.
I have some I have some mixed thoughts on the series because I'm not sure if it's supposed to be like serious or if it's like a comedy or what, but it's like both at the same time and it's so weird.
Sounds like a rather unique subversion, at least.
I remember, and I think I wanted to talk about a certain game that I like installed not too long ago that I played before. Bastion. Bastion is a pretty good game to me. Not gonna spoil anything. So this game is about a little boy with a fucking fuck off hammer, and well, I mean that's his, I guess, starter weapon, if you can call it that, signature weapon. And he beats up, I guess, ghost-like creatures in a post-apocalyptic world. And I think what I like about this game is that its gameplay is sort of like a hack and slash. Like, you know, you dodge shit, you punch shit, but it's generally very fun. Although the collectibles are not that hard to find, which I find to be like, well, okay. But overall, it's a very cool game. I really like its combat. Like, there's a lot of lore in it. There is also there's also a lot of upgrades you can get, and I think everyone loves upgrades in video games as long as they matter to some degree.
Avion only likes obscure games. That's his life motto.
This is not that obscure, but yeah, it is obscure. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know why do I have this sort of liking towards obscure games. I'm not a hipster, so because I fucking like Doom, for example. But then I also like games like Amorphous Plus, which like nobody probably heard of it unless you did. I mean, it was on Newgrounds and on other Flash game websites, so I don't know, maybe you came across it. Overall, I don't know.
I
I
have a
just
feeling, this podcast and this channel in general might get profiled once I make a certain video. I get profiled as a hipster or something, but we'll see. But either way, speaking of, just before anything else happens, I'm probably gonna just change this channel's name to Moki already and just hit fly.
And I wouldn't really know what it's like to be a hipster. Very obscure in my tastes, I guess. I don't know.
You see, there's like, I don't know, hipsters kind of like have a specific behavior where they not just like obscure things, but also dislike things in the mainstream, which I kind of don't like this behavior at all, because you're basically saying, "Oh, you finally succeeded!" Like, wow, you succeeded. Fuck you, I guess. Kind
That's
of a
called,
very
there is a term, and I believe that's called the hipster parasitism, where they're just parasites who feed off of something until it finally reaches a certain point, in which case they just move on and let it die.
yeah. You see, I was generalizing a lot right now, so like, if you identify yourself as a hipster, I don't really mind that, just be a piece of shit, I guess. Oh, there's a thing to talk about. Um, um, I'm gonna throw a word around and see where it goes. DeviantArt.
Oh yeah, the eclipse thing.
Yeah, pretty much that.
Yeah, every single website loves to pretend they're a big social media and go through a huge interface change, which just makes everything worse. Them did the same shit, and it's fucking annoying. Horrible site now.
It kind of is, because like on one hand you can see they kind of want to improve a website, but they just fail miserably at that. And I mean, on the other,
There's also always those replacement sites like WordPress. I guess Wix can also have you make your own website, but this is only for people who do text art. Except WordPress, I've seen normal artists make blogs on WordPress, and yeah, and they just make do with that.
mm-hmm.
WordPress seems pretty user friendly from what I've gathered. Like, I don't know. I made a site there. It's pretty functional, I think.
We can advertise that at the end, or just put it in the description like we usually do.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, I've seen quite a few websites myself made on WordPress. Like there was this one, Toho. Yeah, is that how you fucking say it? I don't know. Toho fan website or something. Huh?
It's like, I feel like it's Toho, isn't it? That's how I've heard it.
Maybe. Yeah, I personally don't know how to fucking say it, so I guess we just go with Toho. Like the hoe of toes, I guess.
I mean, I don't know. It's just.
But yeah, I guess there's always Newgrounds for who are just artists but not text artists, and I mean Newgrounds is okay, but it's like kind of dead. There's a lot of people who like to pretend it's not, but it's dead.
That's sad. Sorry, yeah, you can go ahead.
No,
I'm just going to talk about.
I mean, we get cut off all the time, so it's okay. You go ahead. I mean, I said enough already.
I mean, we're just going to talk about.
I'm going to put a Family Guy Funny Moments clip in here that perfectly encapsulates it. You're going to have to listen to the podcast to see what it is.
Oh, well.
Yes.
Do go ahead, then.
Oh, no, you first.
Wouldn't dream of it.
Too kind, really, I insist.
Wouldn't be proper of me.
I appreciate your courtesy.
Likewise.
Well, we're all out of time. Join us same time tomorrow if it's not entirely inconvenient for you. If so, of course, we do understand, and we do apologize in advance. This has all been an imposition. I'm so dreadfully sorry.
Sorry.
Oh, well.
Yes. Anyway, what's even your fucking profile icon? Like, I didn't get it at all.
I don't know. Well, me? It's
yeah,
like
you, because I know what Moki's icon is, and it's like it doesn't belong to him at all.
I don't know. I think like in the other server, in our death battle, probably soon to be renamed. They said make your profile picture like a Xenoblade Chronicles character. So I picked this character from the start of the game named Colonel Vanguard. And like someone thought it was Eggman, so they asked me, "Hey, is your profile picture Eggman?" I said, "No, not really," and they were like really sad.
gave him this overly long mustache to compensate or something. Or was that like on him already?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I gave this overly long, not very long spiel about my mustached profile picture. It matches my regular mustache, except it's not as, brown. So I don't know.
Can you should send your icon chat so that I can put it in the thumbnail so that
Yeah.
everyone knows what it is.
Yeah, sure. I'll try to find a Google image of it.
And meanwhile, Moki's icon does not fit him at all because it just looks like he's a huge fucking edgelord. For some reason. Like, seriously. Like, I know you love Demi Fiend, but like, shit, man. It just looks funny on you.
Okay, I think it's there, so
Yeah, those are definitely Blade graphics.
Yeah. I don't know, you can feel the 10-year gap. It's astounding.
Yeah, it almost resembles Quake, but not really. Almost.
I think that's a lesson. This is a lesson for everyone, though. People really do not care what your game looks like as long as it is good.
Yeah, like fucking case in point, many retro FPS games these days like use the retro graphic things to their advantage. Fucking Dusk, best example probably. It sets the atmosphere even. It's like
I mean, like, what I'm saying is, it doesn't even have to be good. It can be like what Xenoblade looks like now, today, but it doesn't really change that people adore the game, and it's probably only going to get even more popular because a definitive edition that looks even sharper coming out, and it looks really good.
you're not upscale, right?
Oh,
So,
I don't know.
I think it's remade from the ground up. I don't know. I mean, it kind of has to be, I guess, because it looks different. It's on the Switch now, so it's completely different hardware. So yeah, it's remade from the ground up.
Yeah, they added that fancy new epilogue to the game. Neat. You can actually play before you play the game, so that's something.
I'm not really sure what to make of it necessarily because I'm not really a fan of remakes anymore and like repackagings and collections unless I haven't played the game before because there's just no point to getting them and they can sometimes just be cash grabs or easy money for companies. But I mean, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're necessary, whatever, but I'm not really a fan of like just replaying the same experience but polished up or in some cases entirely changed.
I can definitely see that. Some remakes have been a little bit not living up to their fullest potential. I think the Resident Evil 3 remake was seen as very bit of a downgrade in some respects, but
yeah, I heard about that. And then last podcast we talked a little bit about Final Fantasy VII's remake, which I only talked about what I knew about. I didn't talk about much, but I'm not sure if I approve or not because it's not like it's just a pointless revisiting of the entire series, or rather of the entire Final Fantasy VII game. But now has a new plot, sort of. It circles off and inches off in territory, but I'm not sure if I approve still. I don't know.
I think the gameplay is seen as a general pretty good thing from what I've heard. People enjoy how it plays and looks. I guess maybe it's a bit disingenuous calling it not really. I guess the colloquial term for remake is just generally polishing the game, but remake can, mean making an entirely new experience. But if they called
I think at the same time people have their own head terms for what remastered, remake, and all that stuff means. Like port. I don't think studios need to keep in mind the definitions or anything. It's a bit silly to suggest that like some people do.
Yeah, maybe you're right. And,
Makes me kind of wonder about like source ports, because they are kind of just basically releasing the same game but making it work on a new operating system, and I'm not sure how to feel about that. Like, on one hand, I mean, sure, go for it, whatever. It's not like anybody cares whether you use a source port or not. I don't know, probably
But
another
yeah, I
feelings.
guess something that's a bit weird, I guess, is that both Animal Crossing and Doom Eternal have been selling amazingly digitally. I guess it's because of what's going on now. Not they can only really be sold digitally, but I think it's weird that because of that they basically surpassed Call of Duty in digital sales for best digital sales of all time.
Like together or on their own?
I think Animal Crossing was the one that broke records, but not Doom. Doom did great though; they got to 3 million.
Yeah, kind of
Animal
sucks.
Crossing.
Kind of sucks to hear about the like Mick Garden though.
Yeah, that's something I'm not sure what to think because this is like Eternal is clearly a love letter to people who like Doom and considering all the things they canonize and reference in the game, but at the same time, I don't like how I do not like how they treated their composer.
Yeah, like he was not the composer himself. Like he was just, I don't know, fucking intern or something.
Mm.
So I don't know. You give the guy a job and they just say, "Yeah, okay, that's cool." Then they proceed to do the same thing he did, but much worse.
I don't know why you would get like Mick Gordon of all people, who is like a really good music dude, especially for a game like Doom, and fuck it up like that. Apparently, Mick Gordon also said that he was dropped from, or he was rejected from making a Mortal Kombat soundtrack because they didn't like his music. Like, why is Mick Gordon getting shafted so hard by everyone when he's so good?
Yeah, and then you have a guy like Andrew Holsholt, who's basically like kind of a god of retro game soundtracks now, because he's fucking everywhere. Like, I'm not sure if he was on Iron Maiden, but he was on Medieval. He was on Dusk. He was on some other games. He's just fucking everywhere right now, and he's successful. And I don't get why Mick Gordon isn't. Especially when like I remember that they once had the opportunity to like they knew each other. I know that, right?
Oh,
They
well,
knew.
I mean, he is successful. I will definitely say he's successful. I just think he's been treated as all.
Yes,
He
yes.
did Killer. Yeah, he did the Killer Instinct soundtrack, and that is great. It's a great listen. Very good soundtrack.
Mick can make music overall. It's just that I don't know. Fucking Bethesda just. How do you fuck up something like that? But then again, near Bethesda, or however you fucking read that, probably nobody is surprised anymore at what they can't do.
Mm.
Mark my fucking works, what they can't do. Because the stuff they can do, if they like, I don't know, they're just a publisher, I guess. People who are like behind their great games, like id Software behind Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal, like Obsidian Entertainment behind Fallout New Vegas. Oh, by the way, Obsidian Entertainment is like the guys who kind of originally made the Fallout games, but not that under a new banner, basically. So like you can kind of see the pattern here. If it's a great developer studio behind Bethesda shit, then they kind of have great games, but otherwise it's kind of shit, which sucks.
I wanted to talk about this channel, or talk on this channel about God of War. I think my thoughts might be a bit controversial, but I've voiced them a lot about what I think about the God of War franchise. But I have not seen anyone really critical of the God of War franchise on YouTube.
People criticize Ascension a lot from.
I mean, but that's mostly because of like gameplay and a little bit of story, I guess. I don't know. Ascension is just more of the same shit, really.
I mean, that's probably the only God of War game I've seen like super heavily criticized. I mean, when people bring up Betrayal, they don't really like that either.
I mean, Betrayal isn't canon, so it doesn't matter.
I guess that's true. I don't really look into that kind of thing for opinion. Sorry.
But I know some people have criticized the new God of War, but that's not what I'm going to focus on. It's not what I have my experience in either. So I'm not going to be talking about that. Or maybe I will. I'll talk a little bit about it since it's an improvement in plot, not necessarily gameplay. Because, I mean, it's not even the same genre anymore. It's a totally different thing now. As long as I can build an audience for this channel where they're open-minded to general stuff, I think I'll be fine, because I want to branch out into a lot of stuff, so I guess mostly video essays. I think that'll be about it. Video essays and reviews is mostly what I want to do. I'll probably do some top 10 personal stuff, like top 10 favorite games or top 10 hardest bosses, but top 10s have fallen out of fashion, so those are just going to be for fun, I guess.
I don't know, they have fallen out of fashion, they have just been overused to the point where they are not even fun to see at all. So like you would probably have to make some top 10 that would stand out in some way, because just listing 10
Usually,
objects.
usually like Watch Mojo does that by making a bunch of mini top 10s of like very specific things that usually suck. But in this case, I can just do like my own personal experience and stuff. So I mean, that's way more interesting than doing the same shit everyone has ever done. A lot of gaming top 10s, for example, is like for top 10 worst games, they'll list off like the same top 10 worst games, or like in every other top 10 worst games. In reality, you know, like you know that the person who made the top 10 has never actually played those games.
Oh god. Yeah, I mean top 10s are kind of meant to be personal, aren't they?
No, that kind of reminds me of like one time I saw this top 10 worst final bosses thing, and I think number 8 was the final boss of the original Uncharted, Talk Navarro. And it was kind of relevant to me because I just finished the original Uncharted, and the boss really sucks, and it's pretty bullshit.
Oh, in what ways does it suck?
Okay, so like the original Uncharted has like really bad gunplay in that the enemies like a billion hits to kill, and they have super overpowered weapons. The final boss basically throws you in like this arena where like cover system can be destroyed. Enemies have like super overpowered guns that can kill you in one hit. And then the final boss just like a quick time event, and not satisfying at all. It's like the worst villain in the original Uncharted, which only is on screen as like a main villain for like 10 minutes and then he dies. It's kind of sad, actually. I don't know.
You know, but this makes me like kind of wonder if like the enemies are overpowered and such. Is that like consistent on all difficulties of this game? If it even has a difficulty system?
Oh, it has a difficulty system. I was just an idiot and I picked like the hardest difficulty right at the start. It's totally my fault. I just wanted to vent about it.
I
mean, I guess like having challenging games is common, so playing harder modes is usually a good idea, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the hardest difficulty right after that is like enemies do quadruple damage, do half damage, you get half the ammo. Sounds really hard. I don't know. Maybe I'll try it one day.
Digital Devil Saga has one of the hardest bosses in all of gaming, which is against Demi Fiend. So I wanted to face that boss because that would probably be on a top 10 or something, or good to talk about. But
I
at the
remember
same
that
time, don't know if my current file is on the highest difficulty. I don't even remember if Digital Devil Saga even has a difficulty mode. No, 2 does, but I don't remember if 1 has a difficulty mode.
Kind of brings me to like Doom's Nightmare difficulty, because Originally, the nightmare difficulty was a total joke. Like the hardest difficulty was ultra violence, and nightmare was just made to fuck with people. It's like, it seems kind of impossible at first because enemies respawn constantly and they move very fast. Like Doom kind of has a switch called Fast Monsters, which enables monsters to like fire at you whenever they can and generally move faster. And it's especially visible on pinkies, which become turbo pinkies, and they basically run so fast that you kind of can get stuck in like a corner really easily. But like, see, I'm talking about this because this reminds me how people keep making nightmare playthroughs of various Doom levels, and it's certainly a different challenge because on one hand you get double ammunition. I guess the authors originally like thought that maybe even if it's stupid bullshit, they could at least make it so that you don't have to. You have some slim hope of passing the challenge. And like you see,
The only nightmare challenge that I've seen is one where it's nightmare mode, but every enemy is invisible. And like it's very hard to pass even the first level, so
I mean, I guess because on the first level, like of Doom 2, you get nothing but a pistol and I guess a shotgun, but it's near the end. The first level is actually not that hard to pass, you know. You can just easily run in a straight, like fucking zigzag or something towards the exit, and you just pass it in 40 seconds.
this case, the goal was to get every single enemy on the stage dead.
Oh.
Yeah.
At least once. This kind of reminds me that there was this like UV Tyson run, which like required to kill every enemy on the map with like either the fist or the pistol or the chainsaw. Which like it kind of sounds weird, but people did pass that. Although that is a incredibly tough challenge. I know you can kill the cyber demon with like your fist if you try hard enough. Decino did that, for example. But there's the catch that the cyber demon was like alone and he just kept running up to him and back and just since his attacks were telegraphed, he just kept punching him to death. And yeah, that's basically how you beat the cyber demon with a fist. I don't know how you would do that on UV Tyson since shit. I mean, Berserk works, but I I kind of forgot what I was supposed to say.
Alright, so we had a difficult time recording today, but I think that's gonna be all. This is gonna be hell to edit, and it's not gonna be fun, so let's just say our closing prayers and pray to our deity.
Could say nightmare.
Yeah. We are sorry for the inconvenience.
Cast, we all are not affiliated with Scientology. I'm just gonna let that out there.
What is Scientology?
Oh, you're in for a lesson after this cast, I guess, because it's a new story.
Yay! I'm ready for any lesson.
So I'm gonna let's see. I'm gonna put JJ's WordPress in the description.
Yeah.
Avion's comic is also going to be there.
Yeah, I didn't even mention it.
That's all I've got to advertise. Except I'm gonna put Warp's Sandra Kane in the description again, so that's going to be there as well. So other than that, I think that'll be all. Bye.
Bye. Well, we
I just like to thank everyone here. say thank you, but okay.
Yeah, we
Never
heard
mind.
you, don't worry. I mean, initially you were cut off, but now you're... Yeah, we heard you. Anyway, we can
Yeah,
So
say
that would be
goodbye
good
now.
then.
It was fun. Enjoyed that.
Me too, even if like we had a lot of bullshit going on. Yeah. Goodbye.
Adios,
Be
chachos.